That's it. Hey, this is going to be the last show, and just to wind things up, I just finished doing the grades, and I got a list of stuff that I want to do for you. It's going to be a short video just to pretty much say goodbye. And we got a couple of guests here. So, you know, you've never seen, this is my wife, Kathi.
Hello.
This is the ship structure class. And you have all met the other one in the family. And she's right here. This is the extent of it. So, yeah. She's going to want me to get her a cookie. So we'll get her a cookie, and then we'll say goodbye to Grace. Maybe someday you'll meet her in person. So.
You've all been rock stars.
My wife has been part of this show and part of the studio, so to speak, all the time. She's a teacher as well over at a place in Bangor called Bangor Christian Schools, and she is the government teacher to mostly freshmen in high school. So we've been doing this, me here at the kitchen counter and Kathi over on the side. So I'm going to get to work, and we'll get back to, bye, hon.
Bye.
We're going to switch this around, and I'll show you what I'm thinking about. So here's what we got going. I want to talk first of all about grades. I know there's, at least we're seeing as the teachers, we're seeing a bunch of stuff about what we're supposed to do with grades. So obviously you've got everything on Canvas. You know, Canvas can be really, really confusing when you got so many things there. So I've kind of broken that down. I did that in the last email that I sent you, and you know what I said in that email? If you're seeing this video first, you all passed. There was one of your classmates who dropped off the participation list, but besides that, everybody else was passing. So if I sent you a note, and the note says, if you're getting this email, you've passed, then you know that you're good. And you can look at your exam grades, you can look at your quiz grades, and you can look at your final drawing grades. We're not going to post your letter grades, you know, A minus, B plus, B minus. We're not going to post any of those. I think they're going to, well, you're not going to see them until, I believe, May 8th, which is about a week away, at 1600. That's the day. And I think one of the reasons that's because is they want, we're hoping that you, and I sent you this letter as well. I'm hoping that you will do a student evaluation of my teaching. And I would really, really appreciate that. This has been the most interesting semester. It was great being with you for the first 9 weeks, and it was, in a different way, it was even great having a chance to experience doing it this way. So I would appreciate your honest input. You don't need to tell me that the music was too loud that one time. And I think we worked through that. So there's the grades and there's the Y's. So we'll just put a mark through there. Now, the final drawings, scores and samples. I sent you in that email, I said, well, you know, I scored you, they were 3 points per drawing for a total of 6 points. So if you got a 6, if you got 6 points, you got 100. If you got 5 points, you got a 95. If you got 5.5 points, you got a 95 rather. If you got 5, you got a 90. If you got 4.5 points, you got an 85. And if you got 4 points out of the 6, I gave you an 80. That's all explained in that email. But I also have some examples, so let's go to the examples here. I would say about 25% of you selected to do this drawing, and this, I took the names out, so you know, probably the person who did that may or may not recognize that. But that was a 3-point drawing. So you know, that was the dimensions of the ship, and that was good lettering and good, you know, good neatness, good use of colors. Colors were not required, but they were highly suggested. And then let's look at the next one here. And this was, again, I took the names out of all these, and this was a really well-crafted stern view, aft end drawing, and we have all the things that we're looking for. We got the after peak tank and the wash plate, the steering gear flat, the bulwark and the chocks, and the inspection opening in the ladder, the inspection opening in the rudder trunk. So that was a really nice drawing too. That was certainly a three-pointer. And here was somebody who did a very, very nice rendition of the lines diagram, on the shear, the body, and the half breadth, showing the water lines, the sections, and the buttock lines. And that was really well done and well covered. There was a couple of you that I had to make some comments on, and I docked a few points just because of the way it was explained, and I think you probably have already seen those comments. So I'm just sort of giving you, if you didn't get the full 3 or 6 points, maybe this was one of the reasons. Here was a fore-end drawing, a really nice one, well done, well lettered, nice and clear, and I think that was really good. There was one really disturbing thing that I came up against, and this isn't it, but I'll show you on the next diagram, the next picture, so just wait for that. And here was the double bottom. This had the longitudinals, of course, and the lightning holes and the limber holes and air holes in the tank top and the garboard strake. So this was really, really good. I see the doubler plate. I see I think that should have been the doubler plate there. So that, I didn't mind too much about that, but that was a really nice drawing. So what was disturbing? This was disturbing. Now, there's a flag on the bow of this ship. And the flag says, "We Heart Teel." That's just weird. Honey, you want to come see this? She wants to come see this. Right? Yeah, so now, she's coming to look. So here it is.
I love it.
Well,
I love it.
I don't know. I don't know. Kind of weird.
I think it's awesome.
Okay, no.
Thank you, whoever did it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love all of you too. So, and Grace, by the way, Grace is still sitting here. She is not giving up on the spot at the counter. No, I'm just kidding. I did pick up on that. I had another one. I won't mention Kevin's name, but he had a bunch of Turkish guys standing on the deck of the ship, and they were singing a song, "Bye Bye," so on, something that was that song, "Bye Bye Miss American Pie." Drove the Chevy. I think he's got a Chevy, and drove my Chevy to Pushaw Lake, but you weren't there, or something like Kevin. Good luck.
Thank you, Kevin.
Hope you get to where you're going. But Kevin wasn't the one who did this flag here. It was some other guy. So that's all I'll say.
I like it. Thank
All
you.
right. All right. So I want to go back. Let's see. We got final drawings, samples. I'm going to do the last questions here, but I want to do this one here. It says, "Be neat and clear." Before we do the last questions, be neat and clear. Just show you something here. You see how I wrote this? I don't know if you can make that out if it's dark enough, but I think I'll stop moving it around and I'll get out of the light. I think you can see. And I want to. Some of you have really. This is like my last thing I teach you this semester, and this is really simple. How do you print neatly and clearly? And you're going into a profession where you're going to need to write logbooks. You're going to need to write legible logbooks. They need to have correct spelling. So think about what you're writing, because you cannot erase in a logbook. I would recommend that in your wheel book, you all know what your wheel book is. In your wheel book, collect some samples of good logbook entries. There's pretty standard ones, lights, lines, and gangways tended, routine inspections made about the vessel, all in good order. That's a pretty routine logbook entry. But you want to make sure you spell all those words correctly. You don't want to be spelling the word routine incorrectly in your logbook. So think about doing it correctly, but most importantly, think about doing it neat. So what I've got here is kind of a sample page out of a logbook, and you can see the lines. And this is one of my favorite instruments as well. It's a ruler. Now, we would kid in the beginning of the year, and I'd say, what's the, you guys don't own a ruler? You don't? Well, you're all going to own rulers. Now, watch what I do here. I line this up. And I'm going to start writing. And now what I'm doing is I am putting the pencil every time on the bottom stroke up against that metal or up against the ruler. Routine inspections made about the, we'll drop down here, we'll get it straight. Comma, lights, comma, lines, comma, I can abbreviate gangway, tended, and this is a real pet peeve. I bet you've heard that term, all in apparent good order. I want to address that. Somebody is paying you hundreds and hundreds of dollars a day to do your job. It's kind of in my opinion, it's kind of a little bit of a cop-out if you say, apparently it's all in good order. And I would say to you, make sure it is in good order. And when you write something in the logbook, my favorite logbook entry to write it is this way. Routine inspections made about the vessel, lights, line, and gangway tended, all in good order. You don't need to say all in apparent good order. That's kind of like, well, maybe it is, maybe it's not, I don't really know. Darn it, you're the mate, you're the boss, put your name on the line. Everybody understands it in the best of your ability, that's doing your job. But you don't have to say apparent. All in good order. Now look, as I take the ruler away, that's pretty neat. Now it's kind of funny that every letter ends on the same line because I brought. Now watch this. I'm going to do that again with a larger line here, and I'm going to write my name. See that? You see how that comes out in every point, it's nice and even across the bottom. It does have a certain look to it, but it is certainly neat. And you will find that a really useful thing. So there's just a little hint. One last thing I'm going to tell you, and there it is, neat and clear. So you can work on that and take all those hints as you go off and do things. Now, last questions. Let's go back to me, and I'll go back onto the camera. So one of the things that I'd like you to do, I'm going to give you two questions here. And the first one is, I'd be curious, as I reflect back on the course, what I'm asking you. And I would ask that you do this on, you can type it. Why don't you just put it right there on this YouTube video, and I'll be able to see it, make it as a comment. And I challenge every one of you. I will really appreciate that. It's sort of our last contact. And before we all depart for the summer, whatever that brings, and however the cruise goes or doesn't go, or whatever happens. And by the way, I don't know the answer to that question. But I want you to, here's the question. What was the most memorable thing that you learned in this class? So not just, something about the class, but something that you learned, that aha moment. And say, if it was something back in the first 8 or 9 weeks, or something we did online. I think a lot of you really liked that shipyard video, but I think You know, I was impressed as I was looking at all your drawings of the double bottoms and the fore structure, the ab structure. You have certainly learned a lot. So if you would, the question is, what's the most memorable thing that you learned in this class? And then the second thing that I want you to do, and I'm, try to keep that to, a short, 3 sentences, 4 sentences, something like that. And the other thing is, and this is kind of the way we started the class off, and I know that not everybody in the class is best friends, but you're all classmates and you are all, you are all in this class together, and you are all cadets at Maine Maritime Academy. You're a long line of people doing this. And it is important that you're, the class that you're in. So here's the question. How are you doing? Where are you? I know a lot of you got jobs, but how are you doing? And so, I'd like to know, and I think a lot of your classmates, I'm in so-and-so, and I'm in such and such a state, I'm at home, I'm working and going to school, and, whatever it is. And I think that would be good, and I think that would be a good way to keep in contact. So, what's the most memorable thing that you learned, and then how are you doing? That's it. So, good. I'm all done. I'll be posting grades. You've got my email, you've got all sorts of stuff, and you've got my text number. So whatever you need, whatever's coming up, as we go through the summer, make sure you keep that stuff, keep it handy, and I will act as your liaison. I'll act as your advisor. I know I'm not most of you, I'm not your advisor, but in all those things, I will be standing by to help you make that transition back to Maine Maritime, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. All right. Take care. See you in the fall.